Olayinka Herbert Macaulay, politician, nationalist and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in a deference to his qualities as founder and leader of two foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1. There are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Western Spring Television, ours it is.
Hello and welcome into the Thursday edition of Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. My name is Nengi Ernest Ademola. I definitely have a whole lot of stories making the rounds in the world of sports. And one of the breaking news coming in this morning being reported across all daily states that World Rugby has concluded there is insufficient evidence to suggest that South Africa's Bongi Mbonambi racially abused England's Tom Curry. One more time, the breaking news coming in across and reported across all daily states that World Rugby has concluded that there is insufficient evidence to suggest that South Africa's Bongi Mbonambi racially abused England's Tom Curry. Now, recall for some time now, I've been giving you updates coming in from the Rugby and the Cricket World Cup. So currently what we have right now is the fact that South Africa's Bongi Mbonambi has been named as part of the South African squad that will take part in their new game against their opponent. That's the breaking news coming in this morning and reported across all dailies. And this morning on the show also, I will be connecting with the Bielsa Queen's media officer, because at this point in time we have a very a pre-season game currently ongoing. It's known as the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament, where all of the football clubs participating in the Nigerian Women Football League take part. And currently, we are hearing that Bayelsa Queen has withdrawn from that tournament, which also serves as a pre-season games, as pre-warm-up matches for the main Nigerian Women Football League. So we'll be connecting with the media officer of the Bayelsa Queens to talk more about that. At this point in time, we'll go on a very quick break, and when we'll come back, details of the stories and more coming your way. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us this morning. If you are just tuning in, definitely this is Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. Now on to story number one. Of course, this has been making the rounds in the world of sports ever since yesterday. Recall I brought you news yesterday about the fact that Ethiopia will be locking horns with the Super Falcons of Nigeria by 1:30 p.m. yesterday, Nigerian time, for the Paris 2024 Olympics qualifier. And I'm sure you must have heard of it by now that game ended in a 1-1 draw. Ethiopia was able to hold the Super Falcons there to a 1-1 draw. So let's get into details on how it panned out to be yesterday on the pitch in Addis Ababa. Now, Super Falcons yesterday in Addis Ababa struggles to a 1-1 draw with the spirited Ethiopian senior women national team in the first leg of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games qualifier. Now, the Ethiopians, who defeated Chad 10-0 on aggregate in the earlier round of the series, put up a strong fight against their more renowned opponent. They took the lead as early as the 6th minute through Becky Amare off a corner kick. So that goes to tell you that the Super Falcons of Nigeria conceded as early as the 6th minute. And you know, this reminds me concerning the match between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and I think, was it Saudi Arabia now? I think they conceded as early as 6th minute also. And we saw the same thing happening to the Super Falcons of Nigeria, where they conceded as early as the 6th minute. And that goal was for the Ethiopian women through Becky Amare off a corner kick. Thereafter, they sought to add their tally, but the experienced Nigerian backline of Nicole Payne, Oluwatosin Demei, and Akudo Gbona stood like a brick wall. And the captain of the day, Rasheedat Ajibade, restored parity with a blinder 6 minutes after the restart, as Nigeria came into the second half more determined to get a good result. We also know that Asisat Oshoala missed an opportunity to give the Falcons the lead halfway into the second half when she fumbled with a cross from Tony Payne. Substitute Ifeoma Onumonu had a chance to put Nigeria ahead in the 64th minute, but she was stopped as she made to pull the trigger. Now, what would have been the winner for Nigeria was ruled out by Algerian referee Lamia Atman, who disallowed Onumonu's towering header for a foul in the build-up. And just to also remind you that the second leg of the game would be played at the MKO Abiola Stadium, Abuja, on Tuesday next week, which is the 31st of October, 2023. And that particular game, which will be played right here at home in Nigeria, will stand to decide the tie. Victory for Nigeria will set up a third-round clash with the winner of the tie between Cameroon and Uganda in the second round game. There you have it, update coming in from the Super Falcons. Definitely that game ended in a 1-1 draw against the Ethiopia senior women's national team. Now, we would have won that match, but the Algerian referee Lamia Atman disallowed Onumonu's towering header for a foul in the build-up. The likes of Asisat Oshoala, of course, missed out on some very fine opportunities right there to put Nigeria ahead of the Ethiopia team. We also know that Tony Payne also, you know, they missed somehow. They were not really very clinical enough to be able to get the goals pouring in for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. But we know that Rasheedat Ajibade definitely saved the day for Nigeria when she restored parity to that game, and the game ended in a 1-1 draw. Well, we do hope to see a very much better performance and a very much better side when it comes to the Super Falcons, who will take on the winner between Cameroon and their opponent. That's it. And just to remind you also that the Super Falcons of Nigeria were without the services of Randy Waldrum, who was unavailable yesterday. And of course, his assistant coach had to step up for him. Now, moving away from the Super Falcons of Nigeria, let's also give you news coming in from the World Cup qualifiers. Recall that the Super Eagles of Nigeria are definitely preparing to take on their World Cup qualifier matches in the month of November, which is not far-fetched. Anyways, I think November will start next week, Wednesday. That will be the 1st of November. And a whole lot is to be expected when it comes to the World Cup qualifiers for November. And definitely, CAF has come out to talk about the dates slated for this World Cup qualifiers. They've announced a date for Nigeria's World Cup qualifiers game. Now, the Confederation of African Football has announced dates for Nigeria's Super Eagles 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Lesotho and Zimbabwe in November. The Super Eagles X account announced the dates on Wednesday, which was yesterday, and on match day 1 in Group C, the Super Eagles will host Lesotho inside the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo, Akwa Ibom on Friday, 17th November 2023. Yesterday, I brought you news talking about Lesotho, talking about the fact that they plan on bringing in a permanent coach into the squad. And just after that, of course, CAF took on to their Twitter account to announce that the game between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Lesotho will hold inside the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo, Akwa Ibom, and that will be on Friday, 17th November 2023. Then on match day 2, the Eagles will travel to Kigali, Rwanda to face Zimbabwe on Monday, the 20th of November. Other teams in Group C, let's be reminded also, are South Africa, Rwanda, and Benin Republic. The Eagles have never lost to Lesotho and have won their 4 past encounters. Against Zimbabwe, the Eagles have won 4 of their 7 clashes, drawn 2, and lost 1. And also to let you know that the Eagles failed to qualify for the Qatar 2022 World Cup after losing to rivals Black Stars of Ghana in the playoffs. Of course, so many of us would not stand to forget about that particular match. Now, after playing a goalless draw in Kumasi in the first leg, Ghana forced the Eagles to a 1-0 draw in the second leg in Abuja to pick the ticket for the Qatar 2022 World Cup. Right now, we've been placed in, I want to say, a much more open group, a much more balanced group, and we are hoping that the Super Eagles of Nigeria will definitely make a name for themselves. So remember, they're in Group C, which includes South Africa, Rwanda, and Benin Republic. And on the 17th of November 2023, they will be taking on Lesotho, and that match will be played in the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo, Akwa Ibom. And then again, match day 2, the Super Eagles of Nigeria will now travel to Kigali, Rwanda to face Zimbabwe on Monday, 20th of November. That's the update coming in, and still giving you update as it concerns the 2026 World Cup qualifiers for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We now know that Semi Ajayi could miss Nigeria's 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Lesotho and Zimbabwe in November through an ankle ligament injury. Ajayi came on in the 78th minute against Plymouth on Saturday, which ended goalless. And according to Birmingham Mail, the defender was clearly struggling when reporting for training on Monday. West Brom manager Carlos Corberan confirmed the ankle injury sustained by the Nigerian. And the game between West Brom and Coventry comes up on Monday, 30th of October. And Ajayi was involved in the Super Eagles friendly game against Saudi Arabia in Portugal, which ended in a 2-2 draw. However, he was an unused substitute in the 3-2 win against Mozambique in another friendly game. So there you have it. The services of Semi Ajayi might be unavailable for the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Lesotho and Zimbabwe in November. And this is because he has an ankle ligament injury. Do not forget that we might also be without the services of Victor Osimhen, who is currently also struggling with injury at one end. Well, we do hope and wish them quick recovery, and definitely for them to participate in the 2026 World Cup qualifiers for Nigeria. Now, having given you updates coming in from the Paris 2024 Olympics, as well as updates stemming out from the 2026 World Cup qualifiers, let's also move into the local scene and give you updates coming in from the Nigerian National League. Recall, we have been giving you updates about this, talking about the fact that the NNL board has said that the October 28th starting date is very sacrosanct. I mean, it cannot be changed. And as well, you know, clubs around the NNL, clubs who will be participating in the new season of the NNL should try their very possible best to make sure that they register on time. Well, right now, from the news making the rounds and, of course, being reported across all dailies is the fact that the Nigerian National League, that's the NNL board, yesterday announced the postponement of the kickoff date of the 2023 and 2024 season, saying it would announce a new date later. Once more, the Nigerian National League board yesterday announced the postponement of the kickoff date of the 2023 and 2024 season, saying it would announce a new date later. Now, the league was originally planned to kick off on October 28th, but the NNL said in a statement that it had to be postponed to enable clubs to conclude registration for the new season. And according to the NNL, the board took into cognizance some of the team's inability to meet the October 25th registration deadline for various reasons in taking the decision. Now, the statement explained that with the latest development, clubs are now advised to conclude their registration on November 3rd, 2023, noting that once registration is concluded, the NNL would fix a new date for the league to kick off. And that's the update coming in from the NNL. They postponed, of course, the 2023 and 2024 season kickoff date, and they said it would announce a new date later. And they also are given an extension period for clubs to definitely do the needful in terms of registering their players and whatever processes they have to carry out. They said they are to conclude registration on November 3rd, 2023. That's for the local scene. And right now, flying back into the African Football League, recall that this competition, it is the inaugural edition, and Enyimba FC, the defending champions of the Nigerian Premier Football League, are currently participating in that one. And there was a particular picture of a jersey, that made the rounds in the world of sports when Enyimba took on Wydad Casablanca right here in Nigeria. And of course, that's the picture being displayed on your screen. And this time around, following the handwritten jersey number worn by Innocent Gabriel during their clash against Wydad FC in the African Football League in Uyo on Sunday, former chairman of Gombe State FA, that's Gara Gombe, has called for a heavy sanction on Enyimba International. Well, we'll see how things pans out to be right there. But that's the picture being displayed on your screen, talking about the fact that a particular name, the name of the player and the number was handwritten instead of being printed, just like we see on normal jerseys. And of course, they stand to take on Wydad Casablanca in Morocco today. And we do hope that we would not see this mistake, being showcased right there in Morocco. Now, recall, guys, I told you that we will be joined by the media officer of Bayelsa Queens, and I think we have him on the line already. And I talked about the fact that the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament is currently on. And from what we're hearing, and it has been reported across all dailies, is the fact that Bayelsa Queens has pulled out of the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament. And in just few minutes, I will be giving you details of that story. And of course, we'll be speaking to the Bayelsa Queens media officer in person of Jackson Hananel, who joins us this morning. Hello, can you hear me?
Good morning, Nengi.
All right, good morning to you. Of course, we have been joined by Jackson Hananel, the Bayelsa Queens media officer. Now, let's get quickly straight into business because time is not our friend. But I'd like to read what is being reported across all dailies this morning. Now, it states that Bayelsa Queens have announced that they are pulling out of the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament. Now, the decision to pull out of the tournament was reached following a letter sent to Bayelsa Queens by the Edo State Football Association after Delta Queens protested against the Yenagoa-based side that they used two of their players. We also know that the chairman of Bayelsa Queens, Pastor Robin Aprella, has said the club will be pulling out of the tournament and will return back to their base in Yenagoa because the organizers of the competition did not give them a fair hearing as they are biased in their judgment in favor of Delta Queens Football Club. Now, Jackson Hananel, thank you for joining us this morning. I'd like you to confirm this news. Now, is it true that the Bayelsa Queens have announced their withdrawal from the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament? And aside from that, is it true that the accusation coming from Delta Queens also true in this aspect?
Yeah, good morning and good to join you this morning. And how is Oshun?
Oshun State is very well, sir. Thank you.
All right. I think yes, very true. Bayelsa Queens have pulled out of the Best Field Basket tournament.
Okay.
And one thing, yes, and one thing we must learn is that you don't host because you want to win. This is a preseason tournament. The preseason tournament that shapes the team ahead of the new season. And winning at all costs may not do well for the team.
Okay.
For these things. And looking at it again, you have Delta Queens, who won the Nigerian Premier Football League and could not even qualify in the WAFU Zone B qualification even when they played at their backyard. So it tells you that there is something fundamentally wrong. You don't want to win because you are hosting. You don't win because you have been given target that you must win this preseason tournament. No, and that is what is really playing out. Just as if the FA in those are trying to play some level of hanky panky, wanting to favor either Edo Queens or
Delta Queens.
Delta Queens. And which is not fair at all. So for Bayelsa Queens, the best thing to do was to pull out a tournament after they received a letter from the
Edo State Football Association. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Jackson Hananel, once more, I thank you for joining us this morning. But then again, the reason for Bayelsa Queens pulling out of the tournament, is this true? Because according to Delta Queens, they protested that the Bayelsa Queens are using 2 of their players. And according to Pastor Aprella, he said the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament is a preseason competition where players willing to play for a club can be used. Is this right?
There are later rules. If this is happening in the league, Bayelsa Queens is a professional club that cannot use a player without following the due process.
Yeah, without the contract.
It is a preseason tournament. Yes, they all have a contract, and it is a preseason tournament. If the Bayelsa Queens, if the Queens are saying that they use their player, now in the competition, were there any rule that states that you must bring the license of the league before before a player could be allowed to play? So it just tells you that they want to favor Edo Queens or the other Queens because previously we've heard that even the Edo State government are not even happy with the management of Edo Queens, and they want to use this one as a way of a turning point to have a good look on the government. But it is a preseason tournament. Let's wait till when the league starts. We know that the league will start any moment from now. So why wanting to win a preseason tournament when you know that if you go to the league, if you're not careful, you will even not even make the Super 6. So it's not good at all for our football.
But after all of this engagement and controversy surrounding this particular issue, now, was there a bit of a fair hearing from your side as Bayelsa Queens? I mean, did they hear from both sides? Did they hear from both the Edo State Football Association, Delta Queens, and also Bayelsa Queens? Was Bayelsa Queens granted the opportunity to speak and explain?
They were granted. I think what I will do is that maybe hopefully by tomorrow, if possible, you're going to get maybe Pastor Robin Aprella on the show. Okay. So that he can speak extensively on it. Okay. 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 Yes, there was a fair hearing, and just as if it is a premeditated the decision which they've already made. Oh, okay. 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 But then again, will this stop Bayelsa Queen from honoring some of these preseason tournaments? Not at all. Not at all. Bayelsa Queen is a professional club, and definitely when apart from this, more preseason tournaments will come, and we are going to honor. Okay. All right, Jackson Hananel, we must tell you a very big thank you this morning for joining us and trying to clarify
on the issue of Bielsa Queens having announced their withdrawal from the Betsy Obaseki Women Tournament. And I do hope that you can be able to connect us to the chairman of Bielsa State, of course, Sports. That's in person of Pastor Aprella for tomorrow, so that we can clarify more on the situation.
Yes, I will do that.
All right. All right. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and do have a lovely day ahead.
Thank you very much.
All right. We just spoke with the Bielsa Queens media officer in person of Jackson Hananel, telling us about the issues currently rocking Bielsa Queens, Delta Queens, and of course the Edo State Football Association, and that has led to Bielsa Queens pulling out of the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament, which also serves as a pre-season game and pre-warm-up matches for most of this club who will participate in the Nigerian Women Football League. And there you heard it from him. Tomorrow, God's willing, we will be connecting with the chairman of Bielsa Queens, as in person of Pastor Robin Aprella, so that we can eat deep into this particular issues, because according to them, they're of the opinion that, you know, even if they were given fair hearing, it's more like the results, it's more like the decision was premeditated and they just wanted to do it for just formalities. And we'll see how things pans out to be. But tomorrow, God's willing, we will be talking to the chairman of Bielsa Queens, Pastor Robin Aprella. And of course, that marks the end of the first half of the show. Recall that the UEFA Champions League matches are currently ongoing. Yesterday, I brought you a whole lot of updates coming in from that angle. And games were also played yesterday evening. So we'll give you highlights coming in from Manchester City and Young Boys. Of course, we trusted Manchester City to do the needful. Aside from that, we'll give you other matches that made the rounds during the course of the weekend in the La Liga, in the Ligue 1, and also definitely across all top flight league. We'll be right back.